What?
Is this an open meeting?
No, we're
No.
going to close for half hour.
We're opening and closing.
Meeting.
Eventually, as soon as we're,
Okay, we're live.
okay. Good evening, everyone. This is the City of Englewood City Council meeting. We're in the Municipal Court Building in Englewood. It's June 27th, 2023, and it is 7:30. I hereby call the meeting to order. Let's have the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Please rise. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nancy, could you read the statement regarding the Open Public Meetings Act?
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Notice of this meeting was included in a notice sent to the Record and the Star Ledger and advertised in said newspapers on January 10th, 2023, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. A copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Proper notice having been given, the municipal clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting.
Okay, roll call.
Councilman Cobb is on his way. Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yeah.
Councilman Wilson?
Present.
Councilwoman Wasatski?
Here.
Council President Marin?
Here.
Also present is Mayor Michael Wiles, City Manager Robert S. Hoffman, City Attorney Bill Bailey, and City Engineer Franz Volsi.
Yes, it is.
And we will now go into closed
Nope.
session. Could you read the title of the resolution, Nancy?
This is Resolution Number 211-06-27-23 to permit the Council of the City of Englewood to enter into closed session.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second? Second. Okay, roll call.
Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wasatski?
Yes.
Council President Marin?
Yes. All right, we're now going into closed session. Okay, tell me when.
Okay, good. We're good to go.
Okay, I'd like a motion to return to open session.
So moved.
Second?
You can just do all
I'll
in favor if you
second.
want.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, I'm going to ask Councilwoman Wasatski, would you like to introduce our special presentation?
Sure. Okay,
For presidents, because they should wait till we're done, get out of here.
okay,
That's how it works.
okay, thank you. So tonight, I'm really excited to introduce to you Avery Moskowitz from Englewood, Jacob Fenster and Mark Dweck from Englewood. And they are students at the Frisch School, and they were involved in engineering. And one of the biggest issues that we have in Englewood, or one that we talk about often, is a lot of our traffic safety issues. And so in their engineering program, they wanted to design a smart traffic light, and they're going to talk about their design. What was really exciting is they came and they worked with the Englewood Police, who helped them with gave them some pointers, and they entered into a contest and came in first place. So we're really, really proud of your accomplishments, and I'm going to hand it over to you to present your project. Is it not on?
No, just
Yeah.
Do we have a mic for them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gentlemen, we have a microphone for you.
Just make sure you speak into it, please. Bring it up closer.
Hello, my name is Mark Dweck. This is my fellow Englewood resident Avery Moskowitz and our classmate Jacob Fenster. We are going into our sophomore year of high school, where we have been studying engineering, and part of The engineering curriculum is to create a project which solves a real-world problem, and we decided that we wanted to do something to help society. It was then that we came across a startling statistic. The #1 cause of death globally in people aged 5 to 29 is motor vehicle accidents. Think about that for a second. The #1 cause of death is not hunger, is not disease. Motor vehicle accidents, a man-made issue that we ourselves have created. We felt we must do something to help. Realize that this is not just an Englewood problem, this is not just a national problem, this is a global issue which affects the entire world. As it turns out, the city of Englewood is well aware of this issue and makes traffic safety a priority. We would like to thank them for helping to educate us and for sharing their experience. We often walk and ride our bikes around Englewood and have noticed some scary situations involving crosswalks and left-turning vehicles.
Left turns are dangerous maneuvers because the driver must take in two factors: the speed of the oncoming car and if there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk. If the driver does not properly take in these two accounts, then a collision will ensue. This is a graphic depicting how the crash will occur. The yellow car is making a left turn and is going to accelerate to pass the blue car, which will then, they will hit the pedestrian and then they will hit by another car. So we came up with the left turn assist. It is an innovative traffic signal that utilizes AI and infrared technology to indicate to...
Excuse me, can he move out the way? Because
Yeah.
Thank you.
We created the left turn assist. It's an innovative traffic signal that utilizes AI and infrared technology to calculate the speed of the oncoming car and to see if there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk, and then tell the driver if it's safe to make a left turn. This system can be implemented on any traffic intersection. This is a simple diagram of how our project works. There's the red car, which is the left turning car. You have the pedestrians, and the little arrow is signaling that there's a camera there, and it uses AI to see when there's people there. Those two blue boxes at the top are proximity sensors, which will calculate the speed of that blue car, send them through radio frequency to the green light, and that will tell the red driver when it's safe to make a left turn. This is a video of how our project actually works.
The impact of the left turn assist is that it can help prevent vehicle collisions by allowing drivers to know when it is safe to make a left turn and when it isn't. It can also save the lives of drivers and potentially even passengers in the cars and pedestrians because they won't get hit. And it can also promote traffic efficiency because unlike other similar left turn signals, it does not block traffic in the other direction.
We are especially thankful to the Englewood Police Department, and specifically for Traffic Sergeant Ensena and esteemed Traffic Officer Peterson, who provided essential feedback and helped us with our research. After a few reschedulings due to their extremely busy schedules, they carved out time to meet with us over Zoom. It was a real honor to meet with these local heroes who respond regularly to our community's traffic emergencies. They provided us with insight into the perils and problems that could potentially occur at traffic intersections and helped us to understand some of the challenges in trying to make intersections safer. They also gave us valuable advice on how we could fine-tune our idea and improve our model. After constructing a working prototype, we entered our project into a high school engineering innovation competition held at the American Dream Center in East Rutherford. There were about 1,400 students competing, and we won a first-place trophy. Our project will now also be entered into a sister competition to be held in September, the winner of which will have their project patented and brought to market. We are so pleased with the positive response our project has received, and would like to continue to bring attention to the importance of working on making changes to improve traffic safety. Thank you to the City of Englewood for recognizing the need for safer traffic methods and for supporting innovative ideas to try to practically and economically make our streets safer. Thank you.
We take some questions?
Well, I think Deputy Chief De La Rosa.
We're gonna, yeah. I just want to see if anybody has any questions for you, okay? Anybody from the dais?
I have a question. Gentlemen, did you figure out what the cost would be to build one of these and think about the deployment of this between the federal, state, county, and municipal responsibilities? Did you?
Using information that we got online, we roughly estimate this to cost about $600.
$600.
Yeah.
And does a person need any technology in their vehicle to hear it or see it?
You should be able to see the traffic, like your, like stoplight or whatever traffic goes through your line.
Does it compete with a traffic light in any fashion?
It does not, and since it uses RF technology, you don't even need road excavation to help integrate it into the wiring system. It's completely non-invasive.
And there's no sound component to it? Well done, gentlemen.
Does anybody
I have a question. Gentlemen, where did you study in Englewood? You know, what was your scope of area? Was it all of Palisade Avenue, or where did you go? Because we got a lot of traffic problems, right? We got a lot of traffic problems. I'm glad y'all want to address this. But on top of that, there's enforcement. That we got a lot of problems. People making left-hand turns on Palisade Avenue, making their own left-hand turns, U-turns, and all these kinds of things. Did you see all of that when you were doing your thing, or you just focused on one part in the intersection?
So we're focused on like the one single part. We're focused on not just like just in Englewood, but we're focused on every single intersection anywhere because this happens worldwide, not just locally.
And that were designed to be integrated with intersections with traffic lights or with stop signs and without no pre-existing technology.
Listen, when y'all get an opportunity, I know you're busy, but Palisade Avenue in your scope. I'd like to see, I'd like to get your feedback for that. I really would. I'd like to get your feedback. I appreciate that. I would like to see that. This is interesting, but I'd like to see y'all do it. That's an interesting project, so thank you.
Could I ask a question? Maybe it's because I'm sitting behind you, I didn't hear everything. But how do you notify the drivers that it's not safe to make a left turn? How are they notified?
There's a light signal that illuminates when it is safe, and when it's not illuminated, the driver knows it's not safe.
And where are you, this is what I didn't hear. Where is it mounted?
On an intersection that has pre-existing traffic lights, it will be mounted on overhead next to the pre-existing traffic light, but on an intersection that only has stop signs or doesn't have anything, it will be on the right-hand side of the traffic.
Okay. Obviously, it's going to take some education for the drivers to understand what they're looking at.
So we actually, on our model, we wrote left clear to, we didn't have enough room to write like a message, so we wrote left clear to tell the driver that if this is a little like illuminated, then it means that it's safe to make, like the left-hand lane is clear.
Okay, and I'm assuming it's easy to see, because with the new cars, we've got so much information coming at us. It's like driving, piloting a plane. I'm just curious, how easy it's going to be for a motorist to notice that, if they're also watching their dashboard.
Well, it's similar to a stop sign or a normal traffic light. It's driving.
Okay. And what color was the light?
It's going to be
Green.
in the model. It's going to be.
Was there any thought given to giving it a different color, since red and green are the colors of the traffic
We
lights?
did think to make it green, but on the market, we cannot find it, on this scale and model, we cannot find green traffic lights.
Once we bring it to the market, we're obviously going to make some changes and reviews.
Thank you very much.
You go to Shark Tank next?
Anybody in the public have any questions or comments? Please go ahead.
I just have a comment. I think you guys are doing a terrific thing. My granddaughter, who goes to school in Teaneck, she was also involved in an engineering project at Dickerson, and now she wants to go into aerospace engineering, which is a good thing. I think you guys are doing a great thing, and it's going to definitely help what you're doing. Commend to you young people. Young people, you're young and you have the right mind, putting it to good use.
So we have accommodations from the mayor and city City Council, and our Deputy Chief Nancy LaRosa is going to help. So first, this is for Jacob Fenster.
Congratulations.
And this is for Mark Black. And this is for Avery Moskowitz. Just to reiterate what Councilman Todd said, these guys are superstars. Please come back to Englewood and come help us.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Yancy's. It's right up in front of there.
Make sure you take care of what's first. Good job. Prototype.
Good job. Now sit down.
All right. All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, use that on Hutchinson and Broad. That solves my whole problem. I don't have to bother you anymore. Really?
Well, then we gotta figure out what's the ordinance first.
I wish we had more presentations like this. This is the best.
You said this is underneath.
I got a presentation.
Yeah, that's it?
Okay, we're now going to move on to the next item. We have,
Oh, man, I was right with you.
okay, we have the approval of minutes. Yancy, would you please read the resolution?
This is resolution number 212-06-27-23, resolution accepting minutes. These are the July 13th, 2021 workshop minutes and also the July 27, 2021 regular meeting minutes.
Okay, thanks, Yancy. Could we have a motion,
I
please?
make a motion to
Second.
accept the minutes.
Second? What?
For the joint.
You're gonna have to abstain.
Because you weren't on the council.
Yeah.
So I move.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, could we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Ken
So-
move. Do we have a
The
second?
resolution number is 23.
Second for the minutes, please?
Yeah.
Do we have a second? Okay, roll call.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Abstain.
Abstain.
He has to say. Councilwoman Wasatski? Council President Marin?
Yes. Okay, Yancy, we're now going to have ordinances. We're going to have a public hearing on the second reading. Would you read the title of this ordinance?
This is ordinance number 23-17, an ordinance amending Schedule 16 of Section 25-26 of Chapter 25 of the Code of the City of Englewood relating to no left turn at the intersection of Walton Street and Broad Avenue.
Okay, I'm now opening the public hearing. Anyone that would like to comment, question, please come to the microphone. I need your name and your address. You have 3 minutes. Do we have anyone that wants to question, comment? Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Is anyone, any comment?
I have a question. Did we explain to,
I think it was pretty self-explanatory.
We did do it. We had done it.
If you feel
yeah,
it's
but
required.
we're not there. I just want to make sure that people
Okay.
understand
Bob, would you like to explain this?
what we're doing, because when we're making a left-hand turn, we're going to do all that. Why?
Bob, would you please explain this?
Yes, thank you, Council President. This ordinance will help the city improve its traffic safety. This is going to prevent left-hand turns on Walton at the intersection of Broad Avenue. There has been a series of accidents at that intersection because people are trying to make left-hand turn lanes across 2 lanes of traffic. So there has been actions that have been taken by the DPW to put up signs that say no left-hand turn, and this will give the police the opportunity to enforce the ordinance if people decide to make left-hand turns across 2 lanes of traffic.
Thank you very much. Okay. Anyone else want to comment? Okay, Yancy, roll call.
Councilman Cobb?
Yes.
Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wasatski?
Yes.
Council President Marin?
Yes. Yancy, will you read ordinance 23-18?
This is an ordinance amending Schedule 10 of Section 25-18 of Chapter 25 of the Code of the City of Englewood relating to parking prohibited at all times on a portion of Lydecker Street.
Okay. Now opening the public hearing on this ordinance. Anyone that would like to speak, we need your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Yeah, Rick Wilby, 289 Plantation Way. I'm here to save the world too. And I want to know, you guys have all these parking prohibited here, parking prohibited there. But down in the 4th Ward, mainly on Honig Street, there's a lady that's here tonight that has an issue with street cleaning and parking. And then even I was talking to Al Trusty outside with his block, there's a problem with enforcement. We have all these, wonderful rules at the top of the hill, and in that area, Broad Street, there's a problem, you fix it, and you enforce it. And I know it's going to be enforced. But down here in the valley, nothing. What about all the other streets? You know what I'm saying? Like Mr. Cobb said, what about Palisades Avenue? I mean, people live in a box, then when they get out the box, they act like they're doing something. You're not doing anything, because you don't get out the box too often. So there's other streets in Englewood. Now, I see that Lydecker Street is being accommodated with the no parking, 1, 2, 3. What's going to happen when this lady gets up here and talks about Honig Street and the fact that she needs to park in front of her house, and there's a commercial industrial company right up the block that's making it to where, yeah, go ahead and look at the time, Judy. Well, how much time I have now? Tell me. You don't think it's wonderful? I told you I had a presentation for you. Can I have my presentation? I'm from Englewood, right? So, at the end of the day, you guys have favorites, and you appease those favorites, but the other people, you don't do anything. Lydecker's going to get what they want, okay? Walton is going to get what they want. We're going to get pickleball. We're going to get everything. But what about us?
Thank you.
Hello. Raymond Diaz, 408 Shannon Court. A question about, one is, I'd like to know what the reason is to prevent parking at this point. You have here from a point 129 feet north of the most northerly curb line of Brinkenhoff Court. So that corner, matter of fact, that's where the
That's the
women's
women's
club of
club.
Englewood is, right? And we have agreements, we have 33 parking spaces there when we have events. But the condo across from Brinkenhoff says, listen, you have the parking lot, if you have an overflow, can you please park at Lydecker? Because you're gonna save spaces for the condos that right off Brinkenhoff. So now what this is gonna cause a problem between the condos and us if we have an overflow. They can't park there, and we start on Brickenhoff, then they're gonna start complaining to us about this. So I wanna know the reason why they're having that. Lidecker, they're heavy-duty trucks, back and forth down that street, all the time, both ways. And there's a lot of big houses there, so why can't they park? Well, what are we doing? Why do they get the privilege of having these people not park there? And most of them are condos. You know, you don't get a lot of people there, but when they go to work and stuff like that, or maybe they park there so they can catch the bus. So what makes this so special? And the other problem we have in the Women's Club is they use that as a thoroughfare. You got cars coming from Birkenhoff, go through the Women's Club, and then you got cars coming up from Lidecker going to Birkenhoff. We had the landscaper there, and they almost killed a guy. We can't put gates there. The fire department has to come in case there's an emergency or stuff. The police sometimes are there. We appreciate them looking after the place, but ticket these people. And I mean, I'm just looking, staring at them in the face. What are you doing? Why are you using this as a thoroughfare? They just ignore me, and they just keep doing it. It's been going on for years. So we're gonna have accidents here in this private property there where Women's Club is. And this may cause it even more of a problem. So just consider it. But that answer, I just wanna know why that corner, why that space?
I just want to make sure, we're going to answer it as soon as everybody speaks.
Okay, that's fine. Al Trustee, 33 Florence Street. Listen, okay, so we're talking about Horner Street, right? Because we have a problem in the 4th Ward. We have a problem there. Now, I don't know if everybody has favorites, and I really don't care. So I'm gonna be a favorite. The 4th Ward is gonna be a favorite. You know why? Because I had all the parking rules changed. And guess what? Now I'm retired now, so I get to stand around and watch everything that's going on all day long. And I've been calling the police department every single day. You know why? Because it's not being enforced. 7 o'clock to 5. And I have to call and say, could you please send somebody down here? Because this car's parked over here. I'd like to get the street swept. I'd like to have my block clean. It's not happening. So, you know what I did? Mayor, Council, I went down there, and I went there and said, listen, can the sweeper please come by and sweep the street? Because, see, it's ass backwards. Excuse that. The sweeper comes down, but there's no tickets. So the cops didn't come. And so I talked to them. They're tired of talking to me. Because I said, oh, this is Al Trustee for 33 Florence. Oh, Mr. Trustee, what is it? I got a problem. Because we changed this. I've been here and changed it, and it's still not being enforced. You know, I talked to the chief. I'm gonna talk to him again. Because I know you can hear me, chief. We have to enforce it. So now, where's the people that write the tickets? They don't even come. I gotta wait. And I sit outside on my porch and I wait so I can watch and see what's going on. Because if you don't enforce it, the people are not going to do it. They're just not gonna do it. Then I still got tractor trailers coming down my block. And it says no trucks over 4 tons. But I got tractors and trailers coming down there. That's tearing the street up. So I gotta get it paid. Mary Street got paid. Florence Street is underwater. We have to do something about the 4th Ward because we're being neglected. The sweeper comes, you sweep upside the curb. You come down the middle of the street and just turn and go. I had to go all the way down there and tell him, can the sweeper please come back? Because he didn't do anything. So we're not getting anything done down there. So I know these people are going to talk about Horner Street because they got a problem over there. Because they have, and they're the only 2 houses on the whole block. Everything else is commercial. And they're being swamped, but they pay their taxes just like I pay mine. And then, by the way, they just went up. So, I mean, come on. And I'm on a fixed income. My wife is too. We got to put up with this. And it's not fair. So we have to enforce the law. And the law is the law, and everybody has to abide by it. So we got to write tickets. They don't move, we'll write tickets. They need that too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Excuse me.
Scott Jenkins, Toms River, New Jersey. I just had a question, maybe the city manager might be able to answer it. I doubt it can probably be answered tonight. I'd like to know if anybody has any idea how many of these ordinances, how many speed limit signs are up, how many stop signs have been up that have not been certified by the county. We have unenforceable speed limits.
Excuse me, did you give us your address? I don't think I
My
heard
address
it.
is Toms River, New Jersey.
Okay.
Again, we have speed limits in the city of Englewood. We have stop signs in the city of Englewood. We have county roadways that you're approving certain ordinances for, but we don't have approvals of the Department of Transportation. And I'd like to know if anybody has ever done a study as to what locations are non-enforceable in the city of Englewood.
Thank you. I think we're addressing the Lydecker Street resolution.
Well, this is a part of that.
Yeah, well, that's why I let you continue. Thank you.
Well, you didn't let me. I'm here and I have a right to speak. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Martha Morales, 93 Honeck Street. I'm the Honeck Street lady. I just want to know what steps were taken to pass this ordinance and on Lydecker that are different from the numerous emails that I have been sending throughout the years to city managers, including to Mr. Cobb, Wayne Hamer, and Michael Wild. And I have not heard anything, or I have not seen anything that has been done on Honeck Street. So something must have happened on Lydecker that I'm not aware of, and I just want to see, as a resident of Englewood, what steps do I need to take so I can be heard as well? Because I think as a taxpayer, I deserve the same amount of time, and the basic life, or as a citizen, the basic necessity of having a street cleaned in Englewood, which is Honeck Street, that is not even on the schedule. And it hasn't been there for decades. I've been living there since 1995. And my husband has been cleaning the street of my house since 1995. And these multiple emails have been gone with proof of pictures, emails, videos, and as of yet, I have not heard anything. The last time, my husband had a conversation with Mr. Wilson, and he promised that it was going to be addressed. I have not heard anything. So what differentiates Lydecker from Honeck Street? So that's what I want to know, and I want all of you to come together and tell me what is it that I have to do. I have been robbed of the plate of my car in front of my house, and I had to report it to the police because people park in front of my house 24/7. Commercial trucks from Stryker park in front of my house 24/7. I called the police and nobody's doing anything. So please, let me know what is it that I need to do to come together and then be in the same platform as Lydecker.
Thank you.
Did she do a presentation? Come down, get a reward and shit?
Good evening.
That was the clock.
All right, good evening. I got basic question to ask. I'm starting from my deep right. What is the responsibility?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We need your name and your address.
My name is Clark, Englewood, New Jersey. What I want to find out is, because I'm not fully understanding what the responsibilities of the council. And I'm going to start from Mr. Wiles. What are your responsibility in Englewood until we go all the way deep left. Because I don't understand what your guys' responsibilities are to the town. And I got, each year got like 80 seconds.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but with these are you'll have a chance in the general question area, these are questions about Lydecker, the ordinance that had to do with Lydecker. These are specific to this ordinance. Do you have a question I heard your question, and it's certainly a responsible question, and you can ask it at the end of the meeting when we go to the general questions. You can come back. Okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Bob, would you like to answer some of the questions that were posed?
Sure, Council President. This ordinance was put into place, there was a request to remove one parking space near the Women's Club because of line-of-sight issues. So it was looked at by the police department, by the traffic bureau, and a recommendation was made to request that one parking space be removed, and that we improve the line of sight over at this location. So that's why the east side of Lydecker, they're asking for the one parking space to be removed, and basically to have that line of sight for 129 feet.
Okay. I think there was the woman from Miss Morales from Hone. Excuse me, Michael. This is the time for Bob to answer Mrs. Morales.
Okay, and then there was also a question from Mr. Jenkins. We don't know the answer to the question about how many signs have been certified.
Okay.
Then Ms. Morales had asked about
street cleaning.
The street cleaning. We will talk to the Director of Public Works tomorrow about the street cleaning. I just did a quick search just to look for your request. I don't have good internet service here, but I apologize if in the past the city hasn't been responsive to your request, and we'll look into it. We'll ask the police to do the same thing, and we'll follow up. The other thing I will say is that because the parking in the city is the parking ordinances that we have, they have some unique characteristics. So one of the things that is going to be happening is we're going to be looking, and I believe I had talked about this at a previous meeting, is we're going to be looking at we're going to have a consultant help us look at our parking ordinance and look at it for the whole city, because we don't want to solve a problem in one location and push it to another. So we want to take a holistic look, and we want to, I believe it's chapter 25 of the code. So we're going to be looking at that, and then coming back to the council with recommendations for the whole city, so that we make sure we've addressed as many issues as possible, because there are areas where people had requested no parking in front of their houses back in the 1980s, and I'm going to make the assumption it was for a basketball court, but the houses have turned over and people want to be able to park in those spots, and we have no parking. So we want to take a look and redo our parking ordinances so it makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
If I may.
Yes, sure.
Madam President. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Morales, for coming out. I had the pleasure of speaking with your husband, and I did follow up with PD, and I believe they came out to ticket. And if in the future, I will try to monitor that better, and if not, if you can call me again when you have these situations, we can look into it further. Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Marin, if I may, I also looked through my emails, and I didn't find an inventory under your name or your husband's name. I'm generally responsive, and I send it, if you wouldn't mind re-forwarding it to you. You're down the block from Jackson Hole.
Yes.
Right, and a lot of people literally park there, go in, they eat, and there's a patent disregard. I think what's trying to be achieved here in Lydecker is the Women's Club is a dangerous place for people coming in and out of if there are cars that are parked. We have that throughout the entire city. We have it on Linden and Grand. We have it in parts of the 4th Ward and the 3rd Ward, where sometimes the brush has to be cut back in the middle of the foliage and everything because people don't see things and pedestrians are being hit and so forth. I think we have to get these communications. This is a very sensitive city manager when it comes to making sure the laws are not only codified but are consistent with other authorities also. But please communicate these needs in writing so that we can track it. Again, please re-forward the emails. I didn't have them. To me and to the ward representative, and then we'll communicate it on your behalf. Pardon? Of course, ma'am. Well, I respond. I'm sure the other members respond.
Thank you, Michael. I'm now going to close the public hearing on this ordinance. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Yancy, roll call.
Councilman Cobb?
Yes.
Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wasatski?
Yes.
Council President Marin?
Yes. We're now moving on to the introduction. This is the first reading, ordinance number 23-22. Yancy, would you read that?
This is an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 250 titled Land Use, creating affordable housing overlay zones.
Okay. Do we have any questions on the council? First, a motion.
I have a question after the motion.
I didn't hear what you said. Oh, okay. Bill, would you like to explain this?
Sure. So pursuant to the court's judgment of December 10th, the city has to implement certain procedures to satisfy its affordable housing obligation, one of which is creating an overlay which would provide certain areas within the city where affordable housing would be permitted, more densities and things like that. It doesn't obviate what's there today, but it would give someone the opportunity prospectively to build affordable housing there. Procedurally, what has to happen is it's an ordinance as opposed to a resolution, and it's a land use ordinance, so it has to be introduced by the governing body, then referred to the planning board for consistency review, they call it, making sure it's consistent with the master plan, then returned to the governing body for the public hearing, which is on this proposed ordinance is August 8th. That's why there's such a time frame in between, because the planning board has to meet and discuss it as well. So the public hearing would actually be on that date. We actually have a court appearance, I think it's August 10th, because the judge has set deadlines for the city to act on these things to implement what she has ordered.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else on the council have any comment?
Yes.
Michael? Oh, I'm sorry.
The public is probably aware of the overlays that may exist, but as I had a previous and earlier meeting, that some of these outlines have changed, and that I think that given the opportunity, we should have the public being able to see some of the changes that they may not be aware of.
I forgot to mention that the plan is also to have the city's planner present for the public hearing to explain it in greater detail and go through the maps and everything.
Okay, and that would be on August 8th? the hearing.
Correct. I imagine he will also be at the planning board.
I think there's a joint meeting between the planning board and the council that's being planned for the discussions on this. The public's invited to participate in that. And I think it's, it's with the master plan on the horizon, I think this is a critical element for us to consider, where neighboring communities are really not ensconced in the conversation and are trying to avoid their obligation. The City of Englewood has always embraced this, and it's a very important issue. When is the joint meeting? Do you remember, Mr. Hoffman?
July 12th, I think.
July 12th, right?
It's July 12th, Mr. Mayor.
Right, and that's also, that'll be by Zoom, so
Yes.
so everybody's welcome to participate, join, ask questions. And again, will there be another public hearing for the city after that?
Yes, August 8th, before this body, but then the planning board would also have their review
Completeness review.
at,
Before your
whatever-
appearance in court.
Before August 8th.
Right, so there will be 3 opportunities for the public to comment and get information.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, do we have a motion? I need a motion.
So moved.
Second? Do we have a second? Can I second it? I second it. Okay, roll call.
Councilman Kopp? Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wasatski?
Yes.
Council President Marin?
Yes. All right, we're moving now to public comment on agenda items. If you have a copy of the agenda, the resolution, this is the consent agenda. So anyone who would like to make a comment, once again, your name, your address, comment, question, just 3 minutes. I guess, okay.
I don't have a comment on that, but I don't remember if you opened the session for comments on the affordable.
It's a first reading.
That'll be
So-
August 8th.
That'll be August, that's why we gave those dates. And Ray, there are going to be 3 different times when you'll be able to take part.
Yeah, besides still item behind.
All right. We're now looking at the resolution consent agenda. Okay, we're going to consider now Resolution 213-06-27-23, 214-06-27-23, 215-06-27-23, 217-06-27-23, 218-06-27-23, 219-06-27-23, 220-06-27-23, 221-06-27-23, and 222-06-27-23. Can we have a motion?
Can we table 213? There were some questions I received before the meeting about whether this was legal for us to approve some of these licenses. So I just wanted it to be looked at before we vote on it. Maybe we can move it to a future meeting.
Go ahead.
As a point of order, I believe that if we table it, then the liquor licenses may be in,
They'll lapse.
I think they lapse June 30th.
They're in jeopardy.
yeah.
Sorry, nothing gets enforced around here anyway, it's okay.
No, the State Attorney General's office is in charge of this.
Did you want to?
Nancy, would you explain that?
Pretty much if the state does not receive these resolutions by the 30th, they'll shut down all liquor licenses in the city.
I'm sorry, Ken, did you hear her?
If it's not
Okay.
approved.
Yeah. So any liquor license that's not approved would be shut down, not all of them, okay.
Okay, does anyone else on the council have any question about that or comment?
Well, I think we had a question about it, and we wanted our attorney to, Mr. Bailey, to address...
Is this specifically about 37 Bennett Road?
Yes.
Okay, so the short answer is yes, you can have a club license on government-owned property. For example, there's volunteer firehouses throughout the state of New Jersey that often are on public property and have bars, or it's not for sale or retail, you have to be a member of the organization. The other thing is, it's up to the state, the Alcohol and Beverage Commission, to make the decision. They say, no, we're just the implementing agency, kind of like a pass-through, so they've approved it. So
Who's they?
the state ABC?
Does that answer the question?
Well, not really, because I'm very confused about this property.
Well, question number one, from what I was told, was can you have this type of license on municipally owned property? The answer is yes.
Right. And just as a point of order, Council President, the resolution is for 29 liquor licenses, so perhaps the question had to do with just one of the 29.
I believe that's correct.
So if the issue is phrased differently, perhaps the other 28 can get passed, or the council can discuss.
I think he just answered the one for the 29.
Okay.
So I think they all should be inclusive.
Yeah, I believe if it's true that if we don't vote on this tonight, then all of them will lapse.
Right, but what they're saying is we could pull out one.
Yeah, but
He's
we have
answered
no
the question.
rationale for it.
Because it's paid for, they pay their money, and it's acceptable, as Bill Bailey just said about their own government agency, so, you know.
And the ABC, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But the ABC is the entity with jurisdiction to revoke licenses,
Yeah, we
not
do
the
that.
city. The Attorney General does that.
Okay, so we haven't got the option of denying a liquor license. All right, can we, so I would like to go ahead with this, the resolution. Do we have a motion to go ahead with this?
I make a motion.
Do we have a second? Good. Roll call.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wasatski?
Yes.
Council President Marin?
Yes. Okay, this is our resolution for vote. These are our non-consent agenda items. Number 223-06-27-23. Yancy, would you read the title?
This is a resolution authorizing the appointment of municipal representatives to the Bergen County Community Development Regional Committee.
All right, do we have a motion? Do we have a motion? A second?
Second.
Okay, roll call?
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wasatski?
Yes.
Council President Marin?
Yes. Okay. We now have a number 224-06-27-23. Yancy?
This is the appointment of the Englewood Housing Authority Commissioner. Council President, I would ask at this point that it be tabled because this was supposed to be discussed and we ran out of time.
Okay, so we're going to have to table number 224 because we didn't have the time. What?
Madam President, while we're tabling?
Yes. Okay.
You could in the same, I was going to ask that 225 and 226 be tabled as well, which that could be done in one motion if it's the pleasure of the body. The reason being for those two items is we have not received comments back from the Fair Share Housing Center.
Okay, so in other words, we would be tabling 224, 225, and 226. Does anyone have any objection to that?
No, I just have a question.
Bill? She has a
Yep.
question.
How do, with the Englewood Housing Authority, we have two open positions. One of it is a governor's appointment. So, how do we, make a recommendation for the governor's appointment?
If there's a consensus among the body, then Mr. Hoffman, myself, the clerk, can contact the governor's office and make that recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so as I said before, it doesn't seem to be any objection. We're tabling 224, 225, and 226. Okay, bills and claims. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to table those items?
I make a motion to table.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call. This is for tabling.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wasatski?
Yes.
Council President Marin?
Yes. We're now moving on to bills and claims. Resolution 227-06-27-23. Yancy, you want to read that?
This is approved payment of bills and claims.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion?
Questions?
I'll have the questions after the motion. Do we have
Make a motion.
Yes.
Kevin moves.
second? Okay. Any questions about the bills and claims? Go ahead.
Page. Stop. Page 5. I have a question. Midway down, we bought masks, black masks, K95. They were $7,090. We bought white masks, it was $720. Same mask.
Yeah,
How's that? The difference? What happened?
it's just the color.
It's got to be more than that.
No, there's more, we bought, I think we bought more. I think we bought more.
Oh, I would hope so.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't like, I don't know what you're telling me.
Yeah, it's not the same amount.
I mean, you know, I just wanted to know, does it look, you know, jumps out at you? I just wanted to ask you. And I have one other question. Down there, we got fireworks for $13,500 at the display. What does that mean?
That's the fireworks. It just,
Is it the physical fireworks?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
that's something, look, we have a number of things here, but the display is 13,500?
that's the actual fireworks itself.
That's what it is, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure, because we got other things to talk about.
Yeah.
About the fireworks.
Yeah.
All right. I'm done.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Kevin?
Just for a point of clarity, on page, I think it's 1 all the way down, general insurance. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. And that covers us for what?
That's half the payment for the year. The first two payments we made already, that was half of, it was totaled 694, the first half of the year. This is for the second half of the year, it's the remaining 694.
Okay. And usually, there are donations for our fireworks. Was
Yes.
that included in this?
Yes, this is all, the fireworks are all from donations.
Okay, so this isn't the city's building?
Exactly. It's the trust, it's from the trust fund. The city pays, we get the donations, we book it as a revenue, and then we have to pay, we pay the vendors.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, because it doesn't read like that.
Does anyone else have any questions on the bills list?
I'm good.
I think he said that. All right, Yancy? I thought I did a motion, we got a motion.
We have a motion and a second.
Can we have a roll call?
Sure. Councilman Cobb?
Yes.
Councilman Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wasatski?
I abstain.
Council President Marin?
Yes. Okay, we're now ready for the communications from the governing body and the city manager. Mayor Wiles?
Thank you. I would like to first extend my condolences again to the family of Bernard Placide that are with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, summer hours for the city offices beginning this week are operating on a summer schedule, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 5, Fridays, 8:30 to 1:30. The schedule will be in effect through September 1st, with the exception of next week, the week of July 3rd, which will have regular hours. Jones Road Bridge construction, the State Department of Transportation contractors will be working overnight on the Jones Road Bridge abutment from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., weather permitting, beginning this week through Thursday, June 29th, again next week, July 5th through Friday, July 7th. Be so guided. On the fireworks, it is now going to be postponed until Thursday evening. It's 88% chance of rain tomorrow and 3% on Thursday. Obviously, it's in God's hands. The fireworks will be held, again, weather permitting, on the front lawn of Dwight Morrow High School. Events begin at 7:30 with the fireworks kicking off, of course, after dark. There's no other rain date, as I understand it, unless we have to convene otherwise. I'm proud to say that we were able to bring this event to our residents with no tax money being spent, despite the fact that it was in the budget and the bills paid. Every year I work very hard to find sponsors to cover the cost. This year we want to thank First Commerce Bank, who stepped up for a full sponsorship. Again, we want to thank them for their friendship to our community. We hope everyone will join us for this very important celebration. DPW holiday schedule. Again, DPW will be closed Tuesday, July 4th for Independence Day. Please visit the city website for more details on garbage, recycling, yard debris, and bulk pickup schedule for the wards. The motor vehicles mobile unit is coming to Englewood on July 10 between 10 to 2 p.m. The MVC will be open for Englewood residents only. Please visit the city website for more information to make an appointment. I want to congratulate all the new elected and selected officials from the Rotary. Service above self is exemplified by the beautiful people that are part of this organization. We had a chance to revel in this this afternoon. The Taylor Bliss House, ladies and gentlemen, you could have driven by the city of Englewood any day in the last fortnight and you would have seen a house actually moving in parts from the Kesher Synagogue to Eleanor Harvey Park. It's underway with major pieces being moved yesterday and continuing today. We want to thank our Historical Society, the Kesher Synagogue, and all the organizations and individuals. I particularly want to push a congratulations word to Charlotte Bennett-Jones, a former member of the council, for making this move possible, and also to S.J. Hawk Construction for taking on this monumental task with such care. This was a win-win, the way Charlotte coined it years ago, to make sure that the synagogue would have its line of sight for Homeland Security and its growth, and at the same time we would preserve this building. We're excited and relieved to see a local piece of history on its way to its home. I want to thank the city manager for making sure that when it came to city property, signage, and the right-of-way and the safety of everybody, and utilities and all the things that went into it, that there was a lot of thought. Our children are watching, ladies and gentlemen, what we do. We're waiting for the Attorney General to come and help our city heal, and our children are watching how we talk to one another in governing body meetings like this, when we're alone and when we're in a group. I am proud the way we are going forward. I am proud with 30,000 residents that we are congratulating from one community to the next the kind of youth that we see and the kind of hope that we have. And again, we have to just keep being that exemplar for the next generation. I wish everybody a wonderful summer. If I could be of service, please join us on Fridays for the Coffee with the Mayor session or reach out to my office. I also want to apologize. I just got the email from Morales. Thank you for resending it to me. I plan to speak with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Charles, our councilman at large.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody. And I want to first thank you all for coming out to the meetings and participating. I think it's very important that we do that. I just like to make a couple of notes here, a couple of comments. One, I had the honor of attending the high school graduation as well as the moving up ceremonies throughout the city of Englewood. And I will tell you that I was pleasantly surprised of the young people coming through the system, the school system. You always hear all the negative things about it, but I can tell you that the administration, the students, the parents, they did a terrific job. And it made me feel good as a product of the school system. So I was very happy, and I'm very pleased and thankful that they invited me to those events. Secondly, I want to correct the record and make sure that people know it's not the city of Englewood that put on the Juneteenth event. That was Jabari. The city of Englewood was a sponsor. Jabari, led by Joe Hoyle and Councilman Kevin Wilson, who have been putting this on for 12 years. 1 year we didn't have it because of COVID, but for 11 years actively, I believe it was, that these guys in this group have put this together, have labored doing this and bringing this to the city of Englewood. And I want to thank all those who have supported this. I now want to talk about some things that trouble me. Obviously, the Placide family is in the back. We have no answers for them. That troubles me. We have Mr. McDonald in the back who had an incident with a police officer. That troubles me. We had a young man last Friday, had a mental occurrence. That troubles me. And I only think that, if we don't prepare ourselves and have the right tools as a city to deal with these things. But I want to make it very clear that people that work for the city, they work for these residents of the city of Englewood. This is how you get your salary paid, through tax dollars, through them paying their taxes. And there's got to be a level of respect. I went to the night out, and I had several parents say to me, why aren't the officers speaking to me? Why don't they speak to us? That's very troubling. It's unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. Right. And, it's in order to do this, these are opportunities for any employee of the city of Englewood when you face a resident to build a relationship, to educate them, and to work with them. This is a three-legged stool here in Englewood. You got the city government, you got the residents, and you got the employees. We all have to work together. So I hope it gets better, but having an event one night doesn't get better. Everybody has to do their job, play their role. And when we come here, you have to participate. If you want this town to be better, or this city to be better, we all have to participate. And we have to come with an attitude of respecting each other. We might not agree with each other, but we have to respect each other. And I've heard people coming and saying the streets are not getting swept, and they're not. You're absolutely right. You should come up here and hold people accountable. And nobody should feel this way. You know what? We got streets in Englewood that say no parking on the street, on that side of the street. And people park on that side of the street. We put cones on the street. They took the cones and put them up on the sidewalk. What does that mean to me? That means that they don't care. That means that they're disrespecting the rule of law. And that means that we need to enforce it. We will set how we live here by holding each other accountable and holding us accountable. It's a summer. Listen, the incident we had this past Friday, guys came with the long guns. I would only ask our officers if they went to Tenafly, would they have their long guns?
Absolutely not.
And why is it that we have to do that when a young man is crying out for help? Because that's what it is. I've asked Mr. Hoffman, I don't care what it costs. We need to get mental health experts on the ground at Englewood. Because they're not only going to protect the residents, they're going to protect these officers, they're going to protect all of us. We are here to help each other. We spend a lot of money on a lot of different things. And everybody wants to be in power, and everybody wants to be this and that. But we can't do none of that if we can't get right with the people. And the problem is mental health don't have no color, don't have no religion. It doesn't have anything. It affects everybody in some way, some kind of way. And we all don't know how close we are as individuals to having a breakdown. We just don't know. We don't know what it could happen. So I am very concerned this summer how we approach things. And we've had a number of instances. They may not think I don't know, but I know but I'm just hoping that our responses are thoughtful. Because that long gun thing from somebody outside of our municipality, what was their thought process? How would they take that in? How would they take that if our guys went up there and did the same thing? And you're coming as mutual aid to the city of Englewood. But I don't want no mutual aid like that. To be honest with you, I don't want that. Stay somewhere else and let us handle our own business. If our officers gave them a directive, I'd like to know that. We need to own it if that's the case. If they didn't, why did you come in here and perceive that? Because of your preconceived notions of what goes on in Englewood? I ain't over that. You know, because I know I can't go up to Tunnel Fly. We can't go up there and do that. So they shouldn't think they could come down here. But more importantly, we have to govern ourselves, and we have to help people when we identify those things. And I want to advocate. We're supposed to be stigma-free and all this.
Not happening.
Let's do what we have. Let's do what we got to do. Let's do what we have to do as a city to give us our people the tools and the resources to deal with these issues so we have a positive outcome. We don't need any more of this. We got an example of what happens when something goes wrong. We don't need that. Just be thoughtful about that. And as we go, and I'm going to close, as we go through the summer, we got these parks. People are going to be out there. Police the parks. And what I mean by that is, if you see people throwing stuff on the ground or whatever, remind them, these are our parks. You know, let's keep them clean because we want to enjoy them as well, because people will be out there and do that. But the city of Englewood will be what we want it to be. What we want it to be. It's not what somebody else will want it to be. We as residents have invested our hard-earned dollars into this city. So we should have expectations of how we want to live in this city. And we should hold people accountable for that stuff. You know, the future is bright with the young kids. That's what I saw. So we need to get on it. These young men who came here today, they had a positive conversation about doing something. But we got a lot of kids like that. That's what I saw. So we need to involve those kids. Let them get to the table. Bring them and listen to their ideas. We need to lift them up. Pass it on. We the old guards. Let's bring it on, but show them that they own this just as much as we do. Engage them so they can help lead us. I think it's important. And if you go around to events and you see these young people and you walk away, you'll be impressed by what they're doing and what they're saying and how they're moving. But they have to have an opportunity. So that's why I'm saying we have to understand, we have to live by these rules, these laws, and all these other things. I get it. We're not going to always agree. I'm okay with that if we're challenging each other to get better and bring something better to the table for all of us. For me, it's about all of us. It ain't about me. Because if all of us do well, then it takes care of all of us. If some people feel that services are being given, you rightfully so, you should speak up. But you should talk to your council people about it, and then bring it here, and hopefully we'll address it. And hopefully we'll be honest if we can't address it. But that's what needs to happen. So I'm going to close by thanking you for listening to me rant a little bit. That's because I care. But I think there are a lot of good things that could come out of this community. We just need to work at it and keep on asking the questions, keep on calling people out, keep on holding people accountable. And hopefully as we move forward, we will get better and the services will get better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman at Large Cobb. Ken?
Thank you. So my condolences to the family of Bernard Placide, who's here tonight. I wanted to congratulate all the successful candidates in the primary election a few weeks ago, including Angela David. Looks like we'll be joining the council next year. Look forward to working with her. I'd like to thank everyone in the First Ward for their support, and I wish everyone a safe and happy summer. I look forward to seeing you at the council meetings. Thank you.
Lisa?
Okay, my condolences to the Bernard Placide family. I too want to congratulate Angela David and Ken Rosenzweig for their victories in the primary. And I too look forward to continuing to work with Councilman Rosenzweig and working with Angela David. Tonight, as the mayor had mentioned, we had a Rotary installation event, and the theme for which I attended, and the theme for this year is sharing hope in the world by focusing on mental health and well-being. And this really resonated with me. I'm looking forward to see what we as a club will do in terms of focusing on mental health. It's a conversation we've been having a lot this year on the City Council. I, again, want to reiterate that I feel that we need to have a city social worker, and I know we've had conversations with members of the Health Department and the Board of Health about that, and I'm hoping that's a conversation that we can continue. I hope that we take the initiative in reaching out in terms of seeing how we can bring the Arrive Together program to Englewood in advance of it coming into Bergen County. I've spoken about it before. And I'd just like to conclude by wishing everybody a wonderful July 4th weekend.
Thank you, Lisa. Kevin?
First, giving honor to God, who's the head of my life, who's allowed me to be here. And it feels funny saying my condolences to the Placide family. I'm a young man of a certain age, and I've had death around me, and I've reached out my condolences on several different occasions. This, for me, is the longest condolence ever I've experienced in my life. My concerns are with the family. My prayers are with the family. I would like to see resolution, and we've been having meetings about change. It just feels not right for me to continue to say condolences. I get it. I'm in misery because of this. It doesn't seem right, and I can't wait for some resolution as well. So my heart goes out to you guys. To the Morales family, thank you for coming out. I can't do this by myself. I reported those incidents, and I was shared that tickets were given out. As I stated in January, I don't want to do it by myself. I need your help. I cannot do things if I'm not aware. And if it takes several calls, if it happens on a continuous basis, my line is open for you. So please don't hesitate to stay in contact with me. And thank you for coming out with your family. I appreciate that. I too had a unique opportunity to go to the moving up ceremony for the middle school and the high school. Education is still alive. People have complained about our Board of Ed, about our kids, and about so forth. I saw some amazing, futuristic children that are growing into being young adults, that are going on to amazing schools. So congratulations to them. Thank you, Mr. Hoyle, for doing what you do. Sky's relentless. He's helped with the Juneteenth and ran with the Juneteenth for a long, long time. When it wasn't popular, when it wasn't easy. So thank you, Mr. Hoyle. I applaud you for your efforts. They're not overlooked. And in the same venue, I'd like to thank the city manager for helping, for participating, and sponsoring for Juneteenth. That's not overlooked either. So thank you for your participation and for all those that came out and enjoyed the festivities as well as the flag raising ceremony. Police involvement. Where do we start? I believe we have our opportunity to, like I said prior, to make history, to make the best police department that we possibly can. I know we have capable people in our city that when we call them for protection, that they know what that looks like. So I'm just leaning on the police department and the public, because without your concerns, we have no idea how you're being treated, what the response time is, the lack of response time. And if in fact that you hear gunshots and don't report it, that could be the biggest mistake ever. It could be your neighbor, a loved one, a family member that's suffering from the sound that you heard. And the last thing I want us to do is to be afraid to call 911. And I get it. I get it 3,000%. I get the hesitation. But we are working diligently with our police department, trying to change the culture on the response to the community at large, which is very important. No resident should ever fear calling 911. I get it. I get it. I get it. You may think so, but that's not the government.
Please wait. You will have your turn. Don't interrupt Mr. Wilson.
Oh, you know my name too, huh? You know my name too, huh?
Kevin?
You done? Are you done? No, I'm not. I didn't ask you to shoot. I asked, were you done? Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Those comments aren't overlooked. And that's why I brought it to light, because I thought it to be important enough to speak about in public, not behind closed doors, not to be afraid to speak up. That's my intention. I believe as a community that it's important that we pay attention to what's going on in our neighborhood, to each other, because we can't get through this thing by ourselves. We've had, within the last 2 weeks, at least 2 mental health calls that could have been disastrous. So I will say this, that it didn't happen. Yes, could things have went better? Absolutely. Should we be expecting the worst? Absolutely not. These documented places where there are mental challenges that live in our community, we have to galvanize ourselves as a community and help out where needed. And one of the helplines would be 201-262-HELP. there's not just enough information out about mental health that when you call 911, that they're properly equipped. I think we all, as a community, need to do our due diligence in regards to mental health. And with that, I will say, if you're not coming to the future council meetings, I bid you a great summer and to be safe. Thank you for allowing me to share, and thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Kevin. My condolences to the Placide family. I really hope we get the report we're waiting for and we can resolve this issue. I think we're all agreed on that. First, I would like to congratulate the organizers from the Jabari Society for the memorable Juneteenth parade. Notable, of course, were our talented Dwight Morrow marching band and performers who were very impressive. It was a beautiful day filled with messages for all of us. On June 21st, the Day of Music, I personally was delighted to attend a performance at our library plaza of my son Jonathan's jazz group. They're really good, and for those of you that weren't there, and that's many, I would say you really missed something. They were terrific. Notable as well, I'm going to take a few minutes just to talk about this because it is an extremely amazing situation. Notable as well was the moving of Englewood House from its old location on Engle Street to its proud new location on Liberty Road in the Eleanor Harvey Park. What an amazing experience. The Englewood Historical Society accomplished what many believed could never be done. From its desperate attempt in court to save our proud old structure from demolition, to the raising of $400,000, all private funds, to accommodate the actual move, the stalwart members of the Historical Society never wavered in their determination to accomplish this Herculean task. As the house was cut into 5 pieces, traveled the route which led it to its new home. The house moving company, S.J. Hawk, was assisted by our Englewood Police Department. Preparation for this was provided by our DPW. Our city manager was key in helping this happen, as well as our chief building inspector. This unique event was covered by NBC and ABC television. Eventually, Englewood House will provide space for meetings of Englewood clubs and events. Our Environmental Commission will be involved in the creation of the beautiful park grounds. Chef Dion is hoping to start a garden which produces products for our food programs. The possibilities are endless. As we enter the second phase of the Englewood House projects, we must raise additional funds, which you will hear about a lot, I'm sure, to complete the interior of the house. We hope our residents will be generous and contribute to this project that will serve all of Englewood. The people responsible for this amazing achievement, who have donated their time and talents, are Jane Kendall, Charlotte Bennett Schoen, Imari Nacht, Janine Brocky McKean, Will Lee, Jackie Gutman, Catherine Silberstein, David Braun, Richard Bennett, Michael Harnett, Hans Gazelle, David Marin, and Norman Davis. And I'm going to say one more time, this was an amazing achievement. It was very exciting to see that house being moved. And we had many children and adults standing on the streets on Hudson Avenue as the house came down the street. It was just an exceptional experience. And when it's mounted on the foundation, which is already in place, tomorrow, if any of you want to take a look, you can drive over to Liberty Road and take a look, because they're going to start reassembling the house. As I say, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and it's going to be something Englewood could be very proud of. It's a beautiful house. So I thank all of you. I wish you all a wonderful summer. And I'm now going to turn the mic over to our city manager, Robert Hoffman.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening. First off, I'd like to wish Happy Eid to anyone who's going to be celebrating the holiday, and I wish them a good holiday season. And I will just say that the Placide family has been in my prayer bag and will continue to be there. On Friday, June 9th, it was the first day of our farmers market, and the market hours this year are from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you can, I'd like you to please think about coming out to the market and supporting our vendors, because we're going to have before the I guess within the next couple weeks, we're going to have up to 10 vendors there. We have several school teachers that now that school is out, they will be coming and participating in the farmers market. But if we don't have people coming to support the vendors, they will not come back next year. So please come out and support the farmers market, the folks that are there. It's now summer and our pools are open. So if you want to get cool, come out to the pools and cool off and enjoy the water and enjoy some good cheer. On June 23rd, on last Friday, the city received an email notification that we have received an electronic transfer for opioid payments, and they were sent to the city. So far the city's received 4 payments totaling $212,705.82, and that can be used for health department programs, for code enforcement personnel, and other things. And there are restrictions, but there are ways that that this opioid settlement can be used, and some of it does have to do with mental health and things of that nature. But we are supposed to be peeling off a portion of it for educational programs and just code enforcement to make sure that wherever cannabis will eventually be, that there's enforcement mechanism and there's education for our students. Today, the Department of Public Works had 2 tandem dump trucks delivered, so they will be added to our fleet. They will soon be on the road to help us. They will have plows and salt spreaders on them. We will be able to use them for leaves and for other things, but they were just delivered today. And then we're also scheduled to receive our new sewer truck either Thursday or Friday of this week. So my thanks to the governing body, to the council for helping to update our fleet so that we can better serve our residents. On July 6th, the city will be having another meeting of the city. That's our engineer and I. We're going to be meeting with the professors from NJIT who want to design better storm sewer systems for our city. They were going to apply for a grant in December, but the DEP has not yet released the grant RFPs. But they have identified another source of funding, so they want to come up, they want to visit with us, do some fine tuning, and then talk about submitting a grant application on our behalf, so that they'll be able to investigate flooding in Englewood, make recommendations for the future, so that we can be ready to absorb storms that are within the 100 to 500 year storm systems, I guess. Also next week in City Hall, we will have 4 high school students, 4 POP students will be serving in City Hall. They have gone through a training program that was at City Hall as well as at the library. So we will have a student in the clerk's office, we'll have a student in the construction office. We're going to have a student in the court, and Yancy, what's the 4th one? Okay, that's right. So we're going to have 4. They went through the interview process, and it was just nice to see them grow from the start of the training program in April through the interviews, and we're looking forward to their help, because we really do need their help. As the mayor mentioned before, due to the weather forecast, the fireworks, which were scheduled for tomorrow night, Wednesday the 28th, they've been moved to Thursday the 29th. So If you can come, please do. The ground will be a lot drier on Thursday than it will be tomorrow, and we look forward to a good celebration for our 4th of July. There's going to be a meeting coming up on July 11th. The State Department of Transportation has reactivated a plan for a bicycle and pedestrian walkway that would link Alpine, Tenafly, Englewood, and some other communities. So we will go listen to what the state has to do, but this is something that past governing bodies have been interested in, and it's now going to be coming to fruition. So we will be hearing about these plans. The city has been working on different drainage issues, and over the last couple of days, you might have noticed that we had a long arm in Overpeck Creek down by Tenafly, and then the owner of the property at 47 Brook allowed us to go onto that property, and that's a property the city will be acquiring, but we were able to use one of our DPW pieces of equipment to get 2 large trees out of the stream, and so that should help prevent flooding. These were trees that were blocking the stream and were causing, we're going to divert water onto the Greco property, the school property, so we've been able to get them out, and we were working for the last couple days, even when it was raining. But kudos to the DPW for keeping on this project and making sure that the water's flowing, and we've been opening up several other outfalls. So our goal is to have the water run someplace, prevent flooding in people's houses or on roads. And then please check our website and Facebook for the 4th of July garbage schedule, the garbage collection schedules, and please take a moment to sign up for our Nixle notification so that you can receive up-to-date information on garbage and garbage changes, or anything related to weather. And then I want to wish a happy 4th of July to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you know what? I forgot. One more thing, Council President. The Board of Health is going to be moving one of their divisions. The clinic is going to be moving over to the Ambulance Corps building, and they'll be ready for business on Wednesday, July 5th. This is going to be for 3 or 4 months because the health department space is being renovated. And I wanted to thank our ambulance corps, the Englewood Volunteer Ambulance Corps, for their generosity in helping us make this work. So thank you. And then last but not least, we're unveiling a new email. So if there's issues, you can send them to complaints-requests@cityofenglewood.org. And we'll put that on our website. But this way we will be able to follow up and track complaints and make sure that they go to the right departments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are now ready to open the public session. Once again, we invite everybody to come up and speak, comment, question. We need your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Scott Jenkins, 333 Sylvan Avenue, Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, on behalf of the North Jersey Black Caucus for Social Justice. I had something that I wanted to talk about, but something came up during the meeting that I would like to address as well. Lisa Wistowski wanted to table the alcohol license for 37 Bennett Road. Lisa, I just wanted to know, maybe we can have a private discussion, if you understand the history of Prince Hall Masonry and that they are black, and historically what has gone on with that building and what has gone on as far as the black Masons in this country and around the world, and what your reasoning behind pulling that just one application out of all of them. It really smells, it doesn't look right, it doesn't seem right. I don't want to, say that there's something going on with you personally, but it just really is very hard to understand why at all the applications, 39 of them, you would go after the black Masons in the city of Englewood, who, like I said, historically have functioned out of that building. They've had a liquor license forever, and now all of a sudden it's become an issue. What surprises me even more is that when George Floyd was killed, you gave the Black Caucus a check for $250. So this is what I'm confused about. I'm confused as, are you a supporter of black people or are you not a supporter? And I'd like to have that discussion with you. Other than that, if everybody checks their email boxes from this council, I have sent a letter to you requesting that you consider a federal investigation of this police department. You now have enough incidents, including the death, the wrongful death of a 22-year-old man, as well as so many incidents. If you look at the timeline of lawsuits, if you look at the black officers in this department that are suing you, and you look at the facts and the circumstances surrounding the attacks on this community, it warrants a federal investigation. And I'm going to say this on the record. You cannot be afraid to find out the truth. There's nothing wrong with asking for an investigation, unless there's fear, or you know there is something wrong within the department. One way or the other, this has to be resolved. And you need to strongly consider bringing in a federal agency to look at the entire operation and what has happened here over the last 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins.
Amy Bullock, Howland Avenue. I have a list here. A couple of comments, some I would like a response. One, there is what I'm calling implicit exclusion happening in Englewood due to a lack of efficient and effective communication about programming and city meetings and things like that. Some of you may have seen recently, there have been some comments on Facebook regarding the fire program for the children and the timing of the communication coming out. We have got to do a better job of making sure information goes out in a timely fashion and in an effective way. Mr. Hoffman, you talked about Nixle Alert. We need to use that more frequently. I get messages every morning about Jones Road, but I don't get messages about the fire safety program, the Junior Police Academy, Juneteenth. All of that should be going out through Nixle. We cannot rely on social media and Facebook. If we didn't learn anything about the city of Englewood, during COVID, we learned that there's a significant portion of the population that did not have access to internet, which is why the school districts had to provide hotspots. So we cannot rely on social media and going to the city website to communicate information. I agree we need to have a licensed clinical mental health worker on staff for the city, but in the meantime, as we work through the mechanics of that, we have some local resources here that we could tap into. We have a mental health facility on Palisade Avenue. Has anyone had a conversation with Vantage about how they might be able to help us and what types of resources they would be able to provide to families in the community who may be experiencing some challenges? Everybody who works in the city needs to get customer service training so that they know and understand how to interact with the public. It is really a skill set, whether you believe it or not. Resolutions for vote on the non-consent agenda were not included in the packet. Question, is the DPW contract resolved? Are they under contract? Everything signed? If not, what is the holdup? The Bliss House, who's running that house when it's put back together? Who's paying for the operations? Who's gonna be the program director? I would like to know that information. And then around traffic, the intersections at Palisade Avenue, Palisade Place, Palisade Avenue, Cross Street, Palisade Avenue, Matledge, Palisade Avenue, and Knickerbocker and Brookway. There are no crosswalks from the Monument up to Tryon Avenue. That is a school route. I have seen multiple times throughout the school year, children playing Frogger on Palisade Avenue, trying to cross over to walk to school. We've already had an accident where someone was hit at Palisade Ave and Knickerbocker. There's a gentleman who is disabled that crosses Palisade Avenue at Palisade Place, and I've seen multiple times where he's almost been hit. Board of Ed and the council need to go back to having joint meetings. Councilman Cobb, Councilman Wilson talked about how great our children are. You guys need to all meet so we can talk about how we can support each other for our children. That's it, thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Rick Wilby, Englewood, New Jersey. Proverbs 11, verse 1 says, false weight is an abomination to the Most High, okay? But a just weight is his delight. I also want to talk about the DPW contract, okay? Mr. Hoffman, you love to talk about a DPW and how great it is. I think it's time for us to deal fairly with the DPW. We have Tina coming down here, sharing services. These men and these women are owed money. We should not be playing games with our DPW. During COVID, they did the right thing. Winter storms, in the fall, in the spring, they're always doing the right thing. The DPW is actually one of the last homegrown strongholds that we have here in Englewood. And it's a shame that, you know, they are under attack and they're silenced and can't say anything, okay, to defend themselves. And it's very egregious to me as a blue-collar worker to have blue-collar institutions under attack just because they ask questions. Back on the plantation, the master would cut out the slave's tongue if he didn't want to hear what he had to say, and this is cutting out people's tongues and taking away their First Amendment rights. I also concur with Scott Jenkins. We're working with numerous organizations, and one way or the other, the Englewood Police Department will be investigated. I was on scene last Friday at a mental health crisis, and I seen a complete train wreck. Deputy Chief De La Rosa rolled up his pants leg and told me the kind of danger that he was in, and he had a cut that was equivalent to what my French bulldog gives me when he jumps up on my leg when he sees me at night. These guys do not know how to interact with black people. It is very, very simple. It's racism 101. Again, these are our Nazis. They do not know how to interact with black people. The gentleman was on the roof, okay? And if somebody would have treated him like a human being, which he ended up coming down for a cigarette, okay? I mean, I gave the guy a couple of dollars the day before. You know, Patterson has a program with civilians that interact with mental health crisis with people from the community. Mr. Cobb talked about the officers not even talking to people. These officers don't talk to certain people in this town. They don't bring us here and give us awards. They don't want our kids to interact with them. They don't pat us on the back. They kill us like they killed Bernard. So again, we live in two different Americas. One America where everything is fine and people want to stop things from happening, and we have another America where black people are being killed indiscriminately by racist police officers that have impunity and immunity with their with their qualified immunity and other perks that they have to keep them from being responsible. Just because you put on a uniform does not erase the fact that you murdered somebody, you took somebody's son, okay? And we still have to get rid of this Brian Havlicek that is reaping chaos all over town. We have another one of his victims here that's going to speak tonight to what he's done. And I want to congratulate Angela Majette David for replacing Judith Marin, because I don't know how much longer I could deal with her.
Charlena Fields Hobson, Oakland Street here in Englewood. This one, that one. Closer, is that?
That's
Well,
better.
Okay, Charlena Fields Hobson, Oakland Street here in Englewood. Back to this one.
You gotta tilt it, use it.
You may want to hold it if you could pull it out of
That's
there.
okay. Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Charlena Fields Hobson, Oakland Street. First, I want to thank Mr. Hoffman, Mr. Cobb, Mr. Jenkins, Mr. Volsi. I spent 5 years complaining about a sub pump water. In the last couple of days, I'm sure you all know that it has rained a lot. There was not one puddle of water in my backyard since that sub pump was redirected to the street. I do appreciate it very, very much. Secondly, you're concerned about left-hand turns. Well, what about the U-turn signs that are on Palisade Avenue? Do I have everybody's attention? Because we all travel Palisade Avenue. There are, I counted approximately 5 U-turn signs, so probably older than me, since I was born and raised here in Englewood. If they're not going to be acknowledged, then take them down. Police department or the DPW, somebody needs to take them down, because people are making U-turns. I have just occasionally just spoke with Mr. Brzezinski outside in the lobby here. She said she got a ticket for making a U-turn. I understand it is legal to make a U-turn into.
27 years ago.
Okay, making a U-turn, I don't think anybody's getting a ticket for making a U-turn on Palisade Avenue. Okay? The double parking is horrible. And I'll admit, I admit, when I go down Palisade Avenue, I am calling the police station to say, you got double parked cars. Most of them are parked where? In front of Dolce de Columbia. Okay? Or on the other side by the liquor store. Something's got to be done about that. We all travel Palisade Avenue, either going east or west. And I do agree with Ms. Bullock concerning children crossing Palisade Avenue, either from going to school or coming from. There's no crossing guards. The kids need that. We speak about, how we want to be inclusive. Well, that's something that will affect every child, regardless of race, creed, or color. Okay? I attended one of the Jewish holidays a couple of years back, and we speak about being inclusive. I think it would be nice if no one approached me while I was there, and I could count the African Americans on one hand that attended that ceremony with the lighting. It would have been nice if somebody had approached me to explain to me why it's celebrated. Just like, I guess, Christians explain about Christmas and their holidays. Maybe Jewish community needs to sit and take a few minutes and explain it to everybody. And then maybe there would be a whole lot more inclusiveness here in Englewood. Lastly, TNEC has a sign up, $90 fine for making a U-turn. Maybe we need to implement it here in the city, and that'll cut down on the U-turns on Palisade Avenue, because it's dangerous. You don't know who's going to make a U-turn on Palisade Avenue if you're going. I have almost hit someone head on because all of a sudden, they're making a U-turn. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
How's that one, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to speak up. Laura Vogel, 318 Marlborough Road, Englewood. I wanted to talk a little bit about what was in the New York Times today about that the federal government has given the go-ahead to New York to do congestion pricing. People read that today, by any chance? And they haven't agreed on the price yet, what it would cost in addition for New Jersey for us to go over the bridge, and if we're going to go below 60th Street, what that additional toll would be. And that toll, by the way, is not just going to be rush hour. They'll have a toll that's not as expensive all hours, just like you pay to go over the bridge. Do I need to say it? Transportation. Do we need it now? Who can afford to work or go into the city if you want to drive into the city? And for a lot of us, we don't have a lot of options when we don't have buses, the proper transportation in this city. It doesn't only affect those of us who work here, it affects the kids, it affects the children who need to get up to the schools in the second and third ward. And they're walking out there in the pouring rain at 7:30 in the morning. And when it's snowing and the sidewalks haven't been shoveled yet. This is a problem. And this congestion pricing is really going to make it worse. Maybe some of you can afford to pay those kind of prices going into the city. Most of us here in Englewood can't. And no, we can't afford, Mr. Hoffman, it's very nice to have the farmer's market, but who the hell can afford a $20 tomato? They're so expensive, it's ridiculous. Have you been there? It's so expensive.
No, it must be a big one.
It's true. True.
$20.
But please, and I've spoken at different meetings and places with many of you about the transportation. From some of you, I've heard that there's nothing we can do. Pressure. Our state senator, Gordon Johnson, happens to be on the Transportation Commission, okay? How about a little pressure? You want their support, he wants your support when he's running. He lives in our ward, on the 3rd ward, for crying out loud. He knows what our needs are. So please, this is for the whole city. This is for the whole city. We are 5 miles from the George Washington Bridge. And now there's talk about the state giving money for a bike route, you were saying, from Alpine through to Englewood. That's nice. I don't ride a bike. There's a lot of us who don't take bikes to go into the city or go into downtown. I would like to go downtown to go shopping, not bring my car, contribute to better quality air. So please, this pricing is going to hit us really hard. Please, thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
That's short. Martha Morales, 93 Honeck Street. I want to thank the councilman for acknowledging me earlier today. Today, I'm here to advocate for Ward 4. That is my ward. That's where I live, and that's where my heart is. So what I want to say to you, I know I live in a commercial area, and that's fine. But I think the Ward 4, Grand Avenue, Forest, Florence, and all the way down to Dean Street, we're being suffocated by the commercial companies that are there and have no respect for the residents in that area. So what I want to say to you is to please just take a moment and see what's going on in that area as far as cleaning the streets. There is a portion of Banker Street and Mary Street and Honeck Street where Stryker Company has come there for the last 5 years. And their vans are saturating the whole street of Banker Street, Mary Street, between Mary Street and Banker Street, and all the way of Honeck Street. My husband and I have been the ones cleaning the city of Englewood, the streets in front of my house, have been the ones cleaning your sewer lines before it rains, because nobody goes there. We have been the forgotten citizens of Englewood. I am no stranger to Englewood. My children went to Lincoln School. I participated, I volunteered my time at the Lincoln School. I worked with Melvina Cobb during the years that my children went to high school. I volunteered with Merle with the soccer team back in the 1990s and the 2000s. So I know the city of Englewood. I've been here only since 1995, but I took this city as my home. But then suddenly I feel that I'm just the orphan citizen because no one pays attention to that area. And I'm gonna say this, as the city, Ward 4 will be your weakest link because no one is paying attention and the crime there is getting worse and worse. In front of my house, my plates were stolen. I had to report it to the police. And my Easy Pass, because they were using my plates, they were using my Easy Pass. I have it documented. The streets are not being cleaned. They're not being swept. Cars parked 24 hours in front of my house. They don't respect that. So I want to say to you, just put a little bit of attention to that area. We deserve the same treatment as any other citizens in Englewood. Thank you.
Hi, Diane Jansen, 589 Ridgeland Terrace. Judith Marin, Councilwoman Marin, I would like to thank you for running a fair race. I would like to thank Angela David for running. It's nice to have seen two candidates I'm hoping throughout the city we'll see 2 candidates. Your husband said it isn't over till the fat lady sings. Well, I do sing, so we'll see what happens. I don't know what you have planned, but I do want to thank you. Also, when everyone was talking about Bernard Placide, I could only think about how it was the railroad tracks and it's a tale of 2 cities. We truly live in 2 different cities. And until we come to realize that and deal with it, it will remain 2 cities divided by the railroad tracks. I'm ashamed to say that on the side of the city that I live on, we have all the sidewalks are marked, the curbs, the streets are paved. On the other side of the city, since 2019, Amy Bullock Jones tried to bring Smart Street or Street Smart here for a free assessment. I sat on a committee with her to look where children walk so we could pave all those streets. That was 2019. The roads get torn up in Ward 2, and they get repainted and repaved. The roads in Wards 3 and Wards 4 are still torn up and not paved or lined properly in all the areas, especially the ones where children walk. So that is a tale of 2 cities. And then you go into the police. I don't have to talk more about what was said tonight. To see pictures of Tenafly police with long guns that were shared online and no body cameras is scary as hell. And you, council, need to act. What are you waiting for? You can't wait. As far as affordable housing goes, if I was wrong, I thought you were voting tonight and that was your final vote. We will have another chance before the council, is my understanding. So you can change the map so that 6 of the areas in the affordable housing overlay zone, 6 of the 15 areas, are no longer in the flood areas. Thanks.
Good evening, all. Juana Kamisi Smith, and I'm here to speak about an incident that happened to me on 17 Bennett Road at the Elks Lodge by members of the Elks, where I was assaulted by men, okay, several of them, Ernest Spates, Lake City being one of them, who has an arrest warrant and has not been arrested for the assault. The officer, Brian Havlicek, have shoved me in the chest and I'm being prosecuted by the police department due to this circumstance. And actually, we have reached out to some of you people here on the matter, and I'm just not really understanding how I can be assaulted at a public place. The police were called for the incident and it not be investigated. Instead, I go to jail for that, and it's just not making sense to me. And it's a it's a disorderly person's offense, and like Englewood is trying to destroy me behind this. And from my understanding, this officer is involved in many things. So I'm trying to understand this. How does a woman get assaulted? The police stated, and it gets swept under the rug. Also by Coleman, okay, the head person in charge that night, swept it under the rug along with the members of the Elks, and all of this is on film. So I would like this matter handled, and actually I think it needs to be thrown underneath the rug, actually, at the end. So I'd like some answers in the matter of that.
Now, it's my turn.
When did this happen? This happened
August
August
12th.
Right, and.
2 years ago,
Yes,
this was.
several people have been called here, Department of Justice, Attorney General, nothing has been mattered. I want something done about the matter on the police, the Elks Department, Ernest Spate, and everybody that had anything to do with the video. I'm out for blood.
Listen, y'all can sit down, y'all can say what y'all wanna say. Y'all can support your Englewood Police Department, do all that shit. You got a lot of good officers on there. But for the most part of them, a bunch of them is just what they say they are. They're the New Jersey Devils. I watched them. Ernest Spates punched me in my throat. I suffered from mental illness. I went and got an axe and tried to kill her. I'm telling you. They came and they beat her to a point where she was bloody. And when the police came, instead of the police, when Brian Havlicek, the little KKK bitch boy, seen her, he said, "You look like you've been assaulted." But you know what he did? He turned around and he shot her. I got a picture of him in the police department. When I was handcuffed in the police department, he's bringing in the police department. He got her around her fucking neck, almost choked. He choked until she peed on herself. Brian Havlicek don't want to fuck with me. You better do something to him, because I'll show you, all of y'all, the real New Jersey Devils. You better do something with Havlicek. Better do something with Havlicek. Havlicek is a devil, and you're another. It's all of them. George Coleman. He was the first nigga on the goddamn scene. And he was the worst thing there. He's the worst thing there. I got the videos. I talked to Randy Cobb. He sent me. I got the other man's name. He got the video. They got the videos in this thing. She was in a female holding cell, and 9 officers was in there with a bra. A woman is already in there. Why are y'all still in there? When you see it, I'm gonna bring it here for everybody to see. Because let me tell you something. Y'all know who I am. And I ain't scared of none of you. I serve a God that don't tell you.
Charles, you know who he is?
You better deal with her. That Brian Havlicek shit, they're gonna prosecute her after they beat her to death. They got 2 warrants from Ernest Spitz right now for assaulting me. I'm mentally ill. Assaulting her, mentally ill. And guess what? The Englewood police told me that they will not arrest him, and in 2 years, they have. Whatever happened to equal fucking protection of the law?
Hello, my rights are definitely being violated.
Okay.
I'm not happy. I was
Guess what?
assaulted by all men and boys.
Okay. Listen, unfortunately, this is not the right place. Okay, thank you. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Could we have your name and your address?
Al Trustee, 33 Florida Street, Englewood. That's where I am, Englewood, which I can't believe what's going on in this town. It's just too much. It's just really, I don't know, I know a lot of police officers here. Chief of police, I know. As far as I know, I can't believe what's going on here. I mean, the cops come here, AR-15s, I mean, what's going on? We already had problems like this already. And here we go again. I don't know what's going on here. Something's got to happen, because it can't keep happening over and over and over again. Because that's what it seems like what's going on here. You talk about truck drivers being assaulted by the police. I mean, guy had his hands out. I saw the video again. Did you all see it? Man had his hands out. He's taking them to the ground, okay? For what? Why? The kid's license registered. What crime did he commit for him to lock him up, to do that to him? I don't know. Could happen to me. Same thing. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. We're going to do something about it. And it's all of you. This is on your back. It's on your backs. And what you going to do about it? It's got to stop. Cannot continue. Okay? Now, I also want to talk about Mr. Hoffman. I'm so glad that this machine is coming, and I can't wait. I'm excited because I want to see them start to clean out these drains, because, you see, we had all this rain. You've seen it, right? Block did not flood. So we're doing something. So we got to continue on that. By getting this machine, start cleaning out all these sewers, because that's what's backing us up and causing people's houses to flood. And so I have to admit it. I told my wife, we were talking about it, I said, hey, Mr. Hoffman is doing something here because it's working. But I would have been underwater. The whole entire block, Florence Street would have been underwater and everything there. Now, also want to talk about Forest Avenue and Dean Street, right there. Cars are double parked on both sides of the block. Tractor trailers come up and down there, I know you know it. Can't get by. There's a karate school right there and a pizza parlor there, but they double park on both sides of the block. And you just cannot get by. And there was an altercation there, fist fight. Absolutely, it's a fist fight. You see, because people get frustrated because they cannot get by, okay? And then they start arguing and right away it's a fight. So we have to do something about that because they double park there. As soon as they have their little karate and pizza, they're there. So like I said, Kevin, it's the fourth ward. Mr. Wilson, I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson. Councilman Wilson, we gotta do something over here because it's out of hand and those trucks come up there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Joseph Hoyle, Elmore Avenue, Englewood. I wanted to just briefly talk with Mr. Hoffman in regards to the gate on Elmore Avenue at the dead end. Some 7 years ago, the residents on Elmore Avenue got together, they signed a petition to have that gate closed until the city hired and maintained a park ranger to open and close that gate during park hours. They will open it up when the park opens and they will lock it when it closes. However, that's gone to the wayside. There was some vandalism to the gate. I believe the damage that I saw, it appeared that some kind of vehicle rammed the gate and busted the gate open. It was a lightweight gate. I don't know if it's just aluminum or some kind of cheap steel that the gate's made out of, but I think to solve the problem, we need to put a heavier gate out there, and we need to maintain that gate, opening and closing the gate when the park opens and when the park closes. I would really appreciate it if we could get that situation rectified with the gate on Elmore Avenue. And I also wanted to mention the issue with the parking. And to Mr. Hoffman's credit, and to Councilman at Large Charles Cobb and 4th Ward Councilman Kevin Wilson, the parking situation is starting to get a little better, but we have the ways to go. They're not parking on Englewood Avenue, on the north side of Englewood Avenue anymore, but however, they're parking on the west side of Elmore Avenue, which is a safety issue. And believe me, as an emergency responder in this town, it is definitely a safety issue. When I can't get down the block in my car to go home, it's a safety issue with people parking on both sides of the street. There are even commercial vehicles now parking on the west side of the street. And there's an ordinance, and there should be no parking, and enforcement is an issue. I don't understand why I have to call my councilman at large, my councilman, to complain about the parking on the west side of the street. There has to be some kind of enforcement by the police department. They pass by Elmore Avenue numerous times a day, and they see these cars from Lafayette all the way to the dead end of Elmore Avenue parked on the west side of the street. Is it going to be that much of a hassle for them to get out of their cars, walk the block, and ticket the vehicles? Or maybe we should put signs up, change the signs to no parking, and if you park, you can be towed. Maybe the signs need to be changed to that, or maybe we need to increase the fines, because people get tickets once in a while, but they come right back, and they don't mind paying the ticket. So I think maybe if these cars got towed, or if we changed the scale on the fine for the block, that would help rectify the situation. But I think the main thing is enforcement, and we need our officers, while they're patrolling, to come down Elmore Avenue and rectify that with tickets or tow the cars, one or the other. It is a safety issue, and if something happens, more blood's going to be on the hands of the city of Englewood.
Thank you.
I'm going to invent something for that, come do a presentation next week.
Clark, Warren Street. My question is to Mr. Bailey. Mr. Bailey, as a resident, lives in this town, pay taxes, work for the DPW, what is my rights?
If you want to finish your comments, I'll respond.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm finished.
You're done, that's it?
Yes.
So I don't want, this is your time,
No.
so I don't want to take your time.
No,
Because we're not going to go back and forth.
You got 180 seconds.
What's that?
You have 180 seconds to answer my question. Because I divided time, the three minutes by all of you guys.
You're yielding the time, so you're not going to then want to talk after I talk.
No, I'm not going to talk. Just want your answer.
Okay,
We usually answer questions once everybody has spoken. So, and there are only two people behind you.
Okay, all right.
So we'll
So let me
answer,
ask the next
we'll have
question.
Bill answer it as soon as everybody has spoken.
Okay, I'll ask another question then. I'm a little bit confused about what does the council, what are their responsibility? The council, the mayor and the council, what are their responsibilities? What do they do?
Okay, so you've asked two questions.
Okay, I don't take 360 seconds,
No,
okay?
we'll come back to
Can we just have a point of order? Sir, what was your first, I want to make sure we understand, what was your first question?
Talk again?
Yeah,
Your time's
yeah,
not
we're
up.
just, your time's not up.
My time's not up. Question is this. I live here in the town of Englewood from 1980. My question is this. What is my right if I work in this town, live in this town, what is my rights?
his rights.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Anything to say, to come here and talk, I don't get retaliated against, or whatever. You think, what is my rights as a resident in this town?
Yeah, like that Constitution stuff,
No, we heard you, we heard you.
Do I need to come back again?
Yeah, we're going to.
He's going to explain afterwards.
Eh?
He's going to explain afterwards.
As soon as the two gentlemen behind you speak.
yeah.
Is there a grievance pending? Okay, Al Trustee, 33 Florida Street. I want to show you something. because- Yeah.
Mr. Trustee, I believe you spoke already. The fellow behind you has not spoken.
Well, I can yield time, so I can go back to the end of the line. and get back to it
We're
and
not
show you
playing
something.
that. We're
I
not
will show
playing
you
that
something.
game.
I have a big police on my block, chasing my wife and his picture.
Okay, but we're not,
You don't want to talk about that.
Mr. Trustee,
Okay, so
let
I'll
the
just
fellow
kill it.
behind
I'll just
you
kill
speak.
it, and you'll come get me. That's okay.
I can see now go up there, a lot of black guys look like you. Don't worry about it.
Leroy Campbell, 287 Tenafly Road, Englewood. I just want to add to some of the complaints that or concerns that have been made tonight. I live on 287 Tenafly Road. Speed limit is 25 miles per hour. They are zipping up and down Tenafly Road. They are zipping up and down Tenafly Road. And we need patrolled. Myself, along with Councilman Cobb, we sat out on Tenafly Road one afternoon doing school let out. There was no officer or crossing guard at the corner of Dury Avenue and Tenafly Road that day to help these kids cross the street. We saw a principal, one of the principal, literally walk the kid from the school to Tryon Avenue and watch them cross Tryon Avenue to go home. we did not see a patrol car for over an hour, standing out on the street. We did not see a patrol car for over an hour. And again, Tenafly Road is 25 miles per hour. They got to be doing 30, 35, 40 miles when they come through there. And it's the majority of cars. We need to get some patrol out there. We need to monitor this before somebody get hurt. Brian Havlicek, this officer, Brian Havlicek, he was in the Placide family's house when Bernard got killed. He literally attacked one of our residents when he was told to stand down from the area. And now I'm hearing this tonight about Bernard Placide, about Brian Havlicek with these two individuals. What are we going to do? We're going to wait for somebody to get killed again before we do something? We need to deal with these situations. Listen, I know the majority of these cops. They're good cops. Most of these cops are good cops. And it's not just here in Englewood. It's in any town. You're going to have one or two or more bad police officers. You got to deal with them. You can't pat them on the back. Brian Havlicek is probably thinking, well, you know what? I was in the room with this young lady that shot Bernard Placide, and she got a slap on the wrist. So if I beat up this guy, I'm going to get a slap on the wrist. You can't do that. You can't keep doing that. You got to deal with these officers. You have to deal with these officers. Because I'm telling you, if you don't, we're going to have a fatal tragedy here where somebody's going to die. Somebody's going to die. I said this before. Before Bernard got shot, I said this because when all of this issue happened with these cops, they all were walking around with their chest poked out because they're saying that they won. We can do anything now.
Okay.
You can't continue to let this happen. You can't continue to look the other way. You got to do something about this. You got to.
Thank you. Okay, it looks as if there are no more people, so we could answer some of the questions. I'm going to close the general part of the meeting. Okay.
So in terms of Mr. Clark, I'm not 100% sure, but I gather he's an employee and was asking in terms of the scope of what he can or cannot say at a public meeting. I am not the labor attorney for the city. I think there's an issue pending regarding this. I don't know if you're involved, sir, or someone else is, if there's a grievance or litigation pending. So one, I'm not the labor attorney. Two, I wouldn't comment on the pending proceeding that's under the venue of some other, whether it's the court or a hearing officer. So Judy, I'm not gonna get.
Sir, I think what.
Yeah, but what he's saying is not what I'm asking about.
No, I think you said, what are your rights as a citizen?
What I'm asking about as a resident.
No, he's asking.
What is my rights?
What are his rights as a resident?
To speak.
To speak.
In this hall.
Well, you are speaking.
Because I work for the city. What is my rights to speak in this hall where the resident of this town has a right to speak?
So I guess the question Mr. Savage is asking is, he's a resident, he's an employee of the city, so you can ask questions about drainage or anything else that's related to the city, but you are also suing the city, so you can't talk about matters of litigation.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about litigation. I'm asking what's my right to come here and talk.
Right,
He
and we
talks
just-
about nothing about litigation,
No, but right, and we just
nothing
said-
about lawsuit, nothing about nothing. All I ask, what is my rights as a resident?
As a resident.
You should consult, you should ask your attorney.
I don't have an attorney.
Since there's pending
So-
litigation and pending legal issues,
So you
we're not
said
going to comment on
So you
that.
say because have a litigation
And this is what I wanted
with
to avoid, when I kept asking, are you done, are you done?
Yeah, I'm
This
I'm
isn't
finished, but
question and
what
answer,
you're
it's not
saying
a
now, what I
debate.
asked. What
I'm
I-
not giving you a legal advice. You should consult
What
your
I'm
own attorney.
asking you,
I
as a
think you-
resident,
It's a
what
problem
is my
because
rights?
of your litigation. Mr. Bailey
I
has
didn't
said he
tell-
can't.
I didn't tell Mr. Bailey of a litigation.
Okay,
He
but
won't
we-
find that from asking another question. All I asked, what is my rights as a resident who pay tax? What question can I ask in this room?
If you want to have your attorney contact our labor attorney, they can discuss. I'm not going to discuss that.
I
in this
believe
meeting.
Mr. Hoffman said if you want to talk about drainage or streets or traffic, that's fine. Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions that have to be answered?
I have.
Would you please?
All right, thank you, Council President. Just going down the list that I have, there was a question asked if anybody had contacted Advantage for mental health questions. I'm not sure. I know that I had a preliminary conversation several months ago, but our Human Resource Department has, has been having some conversations with other mental health professionals, but we'll check into that. There's two questions that came up about the DPW contracts, and I just wanted to say that there's a memorandum of agreement for the DPW. We've had a couple meetings scheduled where the DPW labor attorney hasn't shown up because we've got a draft of a contract, and there was questions that had come up about some of the issues. So we were scheduled to meet on June 21st with Labor Council for our DPW. The meeting was confirmed. I was there, the CFO was there, our HR director was there, and our Labor Council was there. The DPW attorney never showed up with the meeting, and the meeting had been confirmed. It's been rescheduled for July, the middle of July, or July 21st. So I'm not sure what the real question is, but so there is. I've answered the question that was asked about the DPW contract. So that was I was answering a different question, sir. All right.
Onward.
All right. What else? All right, there's the next question that came from Mr. Hoyle had to do with Elmore Avenue, and there's a gate. Mr. Hoyle, yes, there's a gate at the end. Back in April and May, there had been illegal dumping that I had seen. I actually took pictures of it in April, and I know that the chain on the gate had been broken. It had been replaced, but I think it's missing again. There had been a period of time where there was notification about that the police department was going to start enforcing the no parking on a couple of the streets. I believe it was Liberty, Elmore, part of Englewood, and it's supposed to start this week. We had given people a grace period. We had said we were going to give them notifications, but we need to start enforcing that. So we'll follow up on that. But is the gate at the end of Elmore, is that broken now, or is that completely off?
It's broken and it's unlocked. The gate is open now.
Okay. All right.
So it should be closed and locked, but however, you need a heavier gate.
Yep. All right. So those were
That's it?
those were the questions that I had started. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to close the meeting, to adjourn? Do I have a second? Second to close?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye, please. Aye. Meeting is closed.
I don't want to know that, but this guy, they got represented. Not him, someone else. But he's both recognized. So they want to know, like, how far can I go? How can I